Mayor of Dolton, Illinois, Village of Dolton, Tiffany Henyard. She's received an eviction notice. Now, it's not the fact that she's so far behind on rent. It's not the fact that, she's being evicted in general. I see the real news story as how much she's being evicted for. Let's jump on into it. Let's get into this. If you don't know who I am, my name's Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies. I'm a real estate guy by trade. So this is right up my alley. Okay, let's, first thing we're going to do is we are going to watch a quick video on, from Dane Placard. He was the one that kind of broke this story. Here we go.
Well, Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has a new crisis on her hands. She's being booted out of her home. Fox 32 has obtained copies of an eviction notice filed in Cook County Court against Henyard and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods. Henyard has been renting a home in the 14600 block of South Harvard for the past 3 years, but the owner of the home told us Henyard and Woods are behind on the rent and owe more than $3,300. The notice also says Henyard has refused to allow an inspection of that property. Now, we reached out to her attorney, who texted back that he believes the story is false and that no rent payment was ever missed.
What you've got is you've got some pretty slim details going on here, but you just got news covering this because there's so much interest in what is going on in Dolton, Illinois. If you haven't followed this story, the super mayor, she's supervisor of trustees and also the Township of Thornton. She is also the mayor of Dolton. She has had just one incident after another with whether her meetings, her overspending. I mean, she is embattled, like this story says. Embattled Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard faces a new crisis. She's reportedly being evicted from her home. Well, she's received a notice. That's what we've got going on. Fox 32 obtained copies. Okay. Henyard and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods. Now, we know Kamal Woods. What I'm going to do is build a case here. We're going to talk about this because this story doesn't make a lot of sense. Got to be honest with you. This doesn't make a lot of sense. Tiffany Henyard makes what? Close to $300,000. We know this because one of these guys interviewed her and said, hey, you make this much at the Township of Thornton, over $200K, and then you make this much as the mayor of Dolton. What's going on here? So she makes a ton of money combined with her boyfriend, Kamal Woods' income. He works for one of the two entities, whether it's Township of Thornton or Village of Dolton, I'm not sure, but she's an employee. So they're making good money. Henyard has rented a home in the 14600 block of South Harvard for the past 3 years, but the property owner said she and Woods are behind on rent and owe more than $3,300. So she's living with her boyfriend. Boyfriend has a kid, right? Whether he has custody of that kid. So they're going to have at least a 2-bedroom home, probably a 3-bedroom home. At a minimum, right? So what does rent look like on a home like that? Let's just take, what I did is I typed in Dolton, Illinois, went to realtor.com, something anybody can do, and just looked at rents in general. Dolton, you guys have some high rents. For relative to your property values, your rents are really high. Your taxes are really high as well. Interesting. High taxes. Okay, so here we go. 4-bedroom for $2,450, 3-bedroom for $2,200, and these are per month. Another 3-bedroom for $2,350. Keep in mind, Tiffany Henyard owes $3,350. So it's maybe 1 month's rent and change, something like that, right? $2,170. Okay, here we go. Here is an apartment in a bigger complex. $1,115 a month. They're not renting an apartment. They are renting a home. So let's say it's going to be between $2,000 and $3,000, right? That's our data array. It's not under $2K. Only thing under $2K are 2-bedroom apartments or condos. $1,930 for an apartment. $2,300 for 1,100 square foot Rambler. That is some significant rent for what these homes are assessed at. $2,250 down here. Okay, you get where I'm coming from? And yeah, here's a 5-bedroom for $3,300, the actual amount that they owe outstanding. Now you got to be behind on your rent for a while before most municipalities allow you to serve an eviction notice. Now this eviction notice went out in, I think it was September 20th, and they have a court date in October. The real story here is, why is this landlord so quick on the draw McGraw to get these folks out? Yeah, because the dictator of Dolton she's embroiled in so many different controversies that I think this landlord just, boom, wants her out. Now, nobody's gotten a hold of the landlord. So that first story I read to you, that was Fox 32, Dane Placco. Now, here we go with Ben Bradley. Turmoil in South Suburban Dolton and the long-running feud between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and village trustees has taken a personal turn, with a court filing that says she's the subject of an eviction notice. WGN Investigates reviewed a copy of an eviction notice filed in Cook County Court against Henyard and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, who works for Thornton Township. Okay, there's the answer. The notice states Henyard is not significantly far behind in rent. All right, she is a month, maybe 2 tops. I'm not seeing Tiffany Henyard rent a $1,500 a month home. I'm just not seeing that. She makes really good money and has made really good money for the last couple of years, well over $300,000 with her boyfriend's income added in there, and she's living with, who is married with a child, that whole thing. So $3,350 is, well, month and a half, but I'm not seeing 2 months. So maybe 1 month behind. What's going on here? What is happening? Is the landlord just using this as an excuse to say, boom, you're done. I don't want you in my home. When you first started renting, things weren't so bad. Now all this national media is coming down, and now the landlord is being reached out to for comment as well, right? The notice says Henyard and Woods were notified on September 18th that their rent was past due and given 5 days to vacate their home in Dolton. Okay. Boom, done. You're out. Well, they've got a hearing. I mean, Tiffany Henyard, she's going to lawyer up. The notice and subsequent court filing says they owe at least $3,350 in back rent. If I didn't know that there was a notice, I would say this story is just completely bogus. I just would. It doesn't make any sense. These numbers don't make sense for somebody with this amount of money. Although, let's go there. Tiffany Henyard has lawyered up for all kinds of other stuff, has a personal, defense attorney, Bo Brindley. Yeah. So we've got Bo Brindley, and he is, judge did not agree with him last week. Just the legal drama going on here. So what I'm getting at is this could spill over into a landlord-tenant situation where the landlord just says, I'm going to do whatever I can to get this individual out. Now, in the back of my mind, the other thing is Tiffany Henyard has spent all this money on attorney's fees, doesn't have the amount of money. I'm not seeing that. Her monthly she's got to be monthly taken in gross $25,000. Think about that. It's somewhere in that range, right? It's over 20, which is 240. And we know it's closer to 300 with just her income. I don't know what her boyfriend's salary is at the township of Thornton, but say it's 50. So she's got to be taking in 30 grand a month gross. So, having a cash flow issue to pay back rent of $3,350, that doesn't make a lot of sense. These numbers do not make any sense at all. In these types of cases, it can take time to actually evict somebody. Yeah. So 5 days to vacate doesn't always mean 5 days. It just means if they don't fight it and it doesn't go to court and it gets streamlined, that's a 5-day. When reached for comment Sunday morning, Henyard's attorney, Bo Brindley, said that as he understands it, quote, this is a claim brought under false pretenses. Okay. All right. Well, tell me about that. What does that look like? I want to know. I don't believe proof of missed payment can be produced. which forces the landlord to produce that. Because proof of missed payment, this is being driven by other motives and is not a complaint brought in good faith. Oh, okay. So her defense attorney, which he claims he is not a defense attorney, even though his website says he is an aggressive defense attorney and he will go the distance to make sure that you get out of whatever charges that you've been involved in. And these other motives and is not a complaint brought in good faith. Okay, well, he's an attorney. He's gonna say that. But this landlord, knowing full well that her tenant is the scrutiny of media all over the United States. I don't know if international markets are watching this or not, but I got a feeling, I know people on YouTube all over the world are watching this. Whether this gets much coverage beyond, US, I don't know. Cause it's like, look at another mayor of a Democrat-run town just going absolutely sideways because of all the drama that she has brought. All right. So let's go with NBC5 Chicago and let's see if they've got anything different. An eviction lawsuit has been filed against Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the embattled leader of the South, yada, yada. And okay, here's what I wanted to glean from this one. Let's get my little yellow guy out here. All right. Henyard and Woods are behind $33.50 in rent, which was established as maybe 1 month. I don't see it being 2. It's 1 month and change, and would love to know what the change is. Or it is literally 1 month they're behind. 1 month. That is not usually cause for eviction. So you got something else going on here. So in rent for their home along Harvard Street in Dolton, plus an additional $50 each day and $2,400 on the beginning of the month. Okay, is that the actual rental amount, $2,400, and the other stuff is extra fees and late fees and whatnot? Is that what we got going on? I don't know. It's hard to say, right? Because it's not really broken down for us. There's nothing that I could find out there. The couple was given 5 days to vacate or sign a new lease and pay all owed rent. Documents revealed. Sign a new lease. Okay, so now we know they're out of contract. They're out of contract on their lease. Now, most leases will go to a month to month based on the amount of the last deal. And you can kind of always negotiate that. But if the landlord is saying new lease and pay all owed rent, documents revealed, which is $3,350, not a significant amount compared to what she is, maybe it's a little over 10% of her gross income. Think about that, 10%. So she's got another 90. Now, that includes, she's got taxes and stuff taken out of all that as well. But what I'm saying is that this is not a big bill for her to pay off. So either she's in just an absolute world of hurt, or like everything else, she just, there's a month that went by, I didn't get the rent to the landlord. I don't know. We don't know. We don't have that information. But just the fact that this is out there is that's the story, right? That is how much scrutiny this individual has coming on her. When contacted by NBC Chicago, Henyard's landlord didn't want to comment on the details of the lawsuit. Now, okay, he did first couple of times around. NBC Chicago was also reached out to Henyard for comment, but we have yet to receive a response. You're not gonna. She's never gonna call you back. And then they go, all these news stories then go on to the story of, oh, good Lord, look at all this stuff. So last month, man, a lot has happened since last week alone. A judge ruled that Tiffany Henyard's appointments of the new police chief, new city attorney or village attorney, and a new village administrator, all of those were basically illegal. Yeah. And a judge granted a temporary restraining order. So this eviction notice comes on the heels of all that. And I can't help but wonder, what this landlord is thinking. That's where I'm at. I'm like, oh, is Tiffany Henyard such a hot potato that the landlord is looking to just get her out of there? Because to me, this eviction notice basically will have no teeth because she'll bring it current. She'll bring her outstanding balance current. She's got the cash flow to do that. I mean, one would think, unless there are some massive, massive bills that she's incurred, that she's having a huge cash flow with, because with her income between the two entities and her boyfriend, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is pretty, this is a troubling story. That's what I would say, which just means this just doesn't make a lot of sense. You got some other factors going on here. And I think the real news is that the landlord just basically wants her out and wants nothing to do with her, or recognizes that Tiffany Henyard may be in some severe, severe cash flow issues and wants her money, wants a new lease, wants to make a statement and say, hey, I am not going to be screwed around with here. You're going to have to pay me, and you're going to have to pay me on time. You got a bunch of other creditors circling around you for God knows what, bills that haven't been paid, because we know Village of Dolton had how much in outstanding checks at one point in time when Lori Lightfoot did her little investigation? $6.1 million, 589 checks outstanding that hadn't been distributed, something like that. I mean, that was the story then. I don't know, the development on that since. But when you've got that kind of story out there and you're a landlord and maybe this is your one rental, you're just going to be like, yeah, I don't think so. We're going to cut ties here and we're going to move on. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make that happen. Meaning pulling a really early eviction notice and just, sending out the message. I think this is sending out the message that maybe the landlord is looking for a new tenant with a little bit less of a profile than Tiffany Henyard has currently. So that's kind of what we got going on. Make sure you're subscribed, because this story and everything else, Tiffany Henyard, we're covering it because this is a topic that you guys want to know about. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.